and you're going to have, it's tens of millions of gallons now. What is it, 500,000 a day? And it's 40-something days, and we're talking hundreds of millions of gallons is going to be hitting. And then you got a problem. You got a big problem. They should have burned that off. They should have been out there dropping napalm on it to keep it burning from day one. They should have kept, and that's the old way. They've had lots of oil spills, folks. You burn them. You set them on fire, folks. And then it's just black smoke. Whoop-de-doo. Let's go ahead and talk to Dave in Michigan. Dave, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Regarding gold, to shift gears a little bit, I have recently been noticing a lot of TV commercials and have found a lot of websites that are offering this cash for gold. And my first thought about that was when seeing all this push for this, could this be a plot to extract, a precious metal with real value from the public and leave them with worthless fiat currency? I was wondering what you and maybe even Ted Anderson's take would be on this whole cash for gold thing.
By the way, Dave, this is not a setup call. We didn't tell you to call, correct?
No. I've been wondering about this for a while, and in fact, when you've had Ted Anderson on, over the last few weeks, I've tried to call and get on while you've had him on, and I've just never been able to get through. So
all right, well,
this is my first opportunity.
Dave, I appreciate your call. In fact, we'll put him on hold and get his take in a moment. Poor Ted. I get wound up, folks. So wound up, I don't plug my own films, my own sponsors, my own books, how we fund ourselves. I get that wound up. And he was supposed to be on at 12:05. An hour ago, hour and 10 minutes. And I said, sorry, come on at 1:05. Now it's 1:16. We're live here on this Tuesday edition. Ted's been sitting there politely off and on for an hour waiting to come on. And so I can bring him up to answer your question. I was wanting to get to your calls and then get into all this economic news, tax hikes, and the 2011 economic collapse, Wall Street Journal. Investment banker, it's going to get nasty. Buy land, barbed wire, and guns. I'm going to cover that when we come back, because now's the time to get into this. But, and the oil spill is serving at many levels as a political distraction for all of this. The overall global financial military takeover that's happening. But absolutely, you're going to see gold ads everywhere selling gold because gold's a hot commodity and the best performing investment overall in the last 7 years. But you're also... everywhere I see these ads for "we'll buy your junk gold," and I've seen they pay about half of what it's worth, and then they melt it down and sell it to the big gold companies, who then turn it into coins or ingots and sell it back to you at a premium. So yes, there are more reputable places that do it, but still they deserve some markup to pay for their mortar and their taxes and their employees. But they shouldn't pay you under about 10% of what gold's worth. I've been told by the industry that's a good deal if it's not already in coin form, because they've got to then get it certified. They've then got to sell it. Who they're selling it to, doesn't give them full market value either. So that's a pretty good deal if you're getting within 10%. If you're getting 90% of its value, but you've got to know how to value it. So yes, that's why you see ads everywhere, because they can't mine enough gold. Mints are running out all over the world. The real market has gold on average about $200, even for the coins that haven't been very popular. Krugerrands are one of the most unpopular coins in history because they're connected to the South African regime. Well, Krugerrands are sold out right now in many areas, and there's giant premiums on them. Okay, and same things that are seen as quite plentiful. British sovereigns can't get them, or there's huge premiums. Maple leafs can't get them, or huge premiums. U.S. buffaloes can't get them, or there's giant premiums. Because they're selling out everywhere. So, see, the bankers are trying to suppress gold, but they're not successful. But to a certain extent they are, because gold in the real market's $1,500 an ounce, $1,450 at its low. But they're telling you it's, $1,250 right now. Let's bring Ted Anderson up briefly. Ted, do you agree with my analysis there?
Yeah, I sure do. I tell you, you see this happening where people will set up shops to buy jewelry, and what would they call it, scrap gold. As a matter of fact, in 1980 it happened too when the market surged. There are a lot of people that need money, and they'll sell their old rings or dental or whatever they have, and it needs to be smelted. And you're not going to get 90% because that's about what a dealer can get when they group all their gold together, unless you have a large enough volume. And then they'll sell it to a smelter, have it assayed. You know, there's fees and charges in that, and then they turn it into bars and coins, just like you said. It's just recycling, that's all.
All right, stay there. But the issue is you don't get what your gold's really worth when you do that. Stay there, Ted Anderson. I want to come back to you, talk about the explosion in the gold market today, all-time records in Europe, almost hitting the record here in the U.S. The military officer that released to WikiLeaks the video of the troops killing the kids, he's being charged. And Bush is giving speeches saying he'd torture people again. But our government sent people who followed his orders to prison for the torture, but he's running around saying he would order torture again. What's wrong with that picture? It's two sets of rules, but I digress. Answering the caller's question on the gold, is that caller still there, John? Dave in Michigan, did that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. And I also wanted to mention that when I Googled it, I found a ton of reviews of people commenting on how they were ripped off, how the checks were very small compared to what they felt their gold was worth, asking for the gold back and not getting it, contacting the Better Business Bureau, bringing charges with their local police departments. It seems to be a real ripoff.
Well, I appreciate your call. Again, it varies. There have been places, normally you want to go to a reputable place that's been there for a long time, who's in the business of buying junk gold back. Obviously, you're going to get people that are going to end up not giving you that much money for it. But again, they've got a business, they got telephones, they got taxes. I mean, people expect for some reason with gold that there's going to be no markup, or in trading gold in that there's going to be, no profit for them. And people love to complain, but I have no doubt there's scams out there, but I'm glad we can answer your question. The answer is to get high quality certified bullion or certified coins and to buy gold instead of selling gold. And now is the time. I mean, Ted Anderson, they're now in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times saying people are going to buy gold. Tell folks where gold is today.
Yeah, sure. Gold hit a peak that it's never seen before today so far at 1252.30.
Oh, so it did break its previous U.S. record. Excuse me.
It did, but it hasn't closed at that. So usually when they say gold hit a record peak, they go off the close. So the market's still open. But the last peak was 1251 and change, and now it's seen a high of 1252.30. So right now, presently, 1244.20. So yeah, it's definitely strong today, Alex. And people are buying because they want security. They want to get out of paper currency, and they want to hold on to gold. Your caller's right. I mean, there's a lot of people that do get ripped off out there, and you really have to beware because just about, there's so many people that come out of the woodwork to buy, people's jewelry, and it can get to be really ugly. So
yeah, but that digresses us down a rabbit trail, but I'm glad we can answer that. We're not in the junk gold business, folks. We're in the business of selling you gold, not buying your gold. Though, Ted, you do buy people's gold back, don't you?
We sure do. And you're right. I'm not in the scrap business. If somebody needed to sell me scrap, they could. But that's not my particular goal. I handle coins that are very recognizable, like the British sovereign, the franc, the U.S. eagle. We just picked up a supply of buffaloes, by the way. Those are coins that are
excuse me? I want one of those. You got some buffaloes in.
Yep, we did. Yeah, we were able to secure a nice supply of those. So
now, Ted, I read in the news, anybody can go Google this and search it, that there's huge premiums. Gold is $1,242 right now, at its all-time high in the U.S., all-time high in Europe. But that's not what coin companies are selling it for. I mean, I've seen huge $200 premiums on an ounce of gold that is bullion class. So how are you able to sell it lower than that? And I know the answer, you bought it when it was lower and you're still selling it even though gold's higher with the discount.
Well, that's what I try to do. I'm not getting a lot of opportunity right now because, of this last little dip that came along. I only had about 2 or 3 days to stock up. But, that's what I do. What happens is when people put a demand on a finite supply, like British sovereign, for example, they're not making those anymore. They're made back in the early 1900s. The supply that's there is it. When people come into the marketplace with literally billions of dollars to buy gold coins, you're putting a lot of pressure on a coin, and they start bidding up the premiums. People see it on eBay, they see it everywhere. It's the same thing. You have supply, and then you have demand.
And now the Russian government, the Iranians, others are pouring in, the Indians, the Japanese, the Chinese, Europeans, who always look down their nose at gold. They like big socialist governments. And boy, look how that ended up for them. And you've got all these open announcements of collapse. I hope we aren't going to have a full collapse. But by and large, NAFTA and GATT has already collapsed our industry. It's already collapsed our society. Now is the time to get into silver $half, to get into gold coins. Here's the toll-free number to call today, 800-686-2237, 800-686-2237. The brokers are there right now. Tell them Alex Jones sent you to get the lower prices. But I forgot to ask you, Ted, what you think your best deals on gold and silver are today. So tell us that offer when we come back. Then I'm getting into the economy, your calls, and a lot more.